So here's the deal. Lots of targeted individuals actually complain about employment. I'm actually one of those. There's no way for us not to complain because there's always something happen that sabotages our income. I will show you a great example of stuff that happened in the past in the Russian Empire history before the communism came to power. So, let me talk about this guy. This gentleman is a Prince Nikolai Golitsyn. He's a relative to the king, and he's the last prime minister of Russian Empire. So, the communists who took power, and in the beginning, supposedly it was easy, not exactly so violent, but it was violent in some places, so other places it wasn't. But the prime ministers, like equivalents of secretaries of state, all the high government people were prosecuted in a massive way. And including this gentleman, he, as I said, he was a relative to the king. He was a prince. At the same time, he was just the person who was the last prime minister, not just before the communists, but 6 months before that, he was ousted by a different reason. So, what happened? All of those people became persecuted in a very malicious way. I would say there was directly like massive equivalent of targeted individuals. They were surrounded somewhere in their houses. Some were killed on the spot. Some were just simply taken away and disappeared. But temporary, nobody did anything to him except ban him from working in the government and so on and so on. He took his money and he ended up de facto with no money to eat. And he said, doesn't matter what happens, you do have to work in a way. And as I said, he was really high in novelty line. And he had, the only job he had to take was shoemaker. Not just shoemaker, he was fixing shoes. Imagine you are, novelty of some kind, and one day and next day you are fixing stuff and for a few cents a day. And yet he took this job and he worked until he actually was executed in 1925. But during this time, he expressed several times opinions about things. His opinions was, sometimes life throws you stuff that not much you can do about it. You either decide to die from hunger, or you do something just to kind of pass by for a while. And the reason he did this, not because he was scared of that or stuff like this, but he was trying to kind of get his opinions across with the hope that this hell, whatever that was brought at the time in 1917, will be over. So that's what it is. If you have a choice of some kind of work, you have to take it, unfortunately. Do you like it or not? And this is when the gang stalkers come. They sometimes, like it was in my situations, I was completely isolated from everywhere. And that's why I'm no longer in some places. I know, for instance, that Atlanta, it's that place for me. That's why I'm just going to go Salt Lake City, and whatever happens, do something extra job. Even though Salt Lake City, I was blacklisted in Salt Lake City for almost 14 months. And if it wasn't for my family that was supporting me, but in the end, it broke my marriage. When you see, if you're married and you have a family, one person cannot in a family cannot work two jobs all the time to cover for you or for a second. You know what I mean? Because simply it's hard if you have family, if you have children. But people who put you in a position, they're the douchebags. There's not much you can do. You deal with douchebags. Remember, the gang stalkers are douchebags. And unfortunately, in Atlanta here, I have a small douchebag group that uses their racial ancestry to screw me over. By the way, I had a couple of bad comments that I removed, and I will take into attention whatever was written, and I will do a different type of video. And so this is what it is, guys. You don't have a choice much when you're targeted individual. You have to select the job. Unfortunately, sometimes people snap and they no longer can stand harassment at work. Or with me, it was really simple. I had a medical situation, and when I had medical situation, I had a situation created at work that I couldn't work after. You see, the gang stalkers, they know what they're doing. You should sometimes, by the way, you have to watch if you have stuff at work that's happening. Watch people who harass you, and usually what happens, they will go out to talk on the phone to have instructions, and they will harass you. That's what it is. So thanks, guys. I hope it's short. You watch it till the end, and that's what it is. And I guess you did. Thank you.